Hello and welcome to Flywheel. I am Sam, producer and also host of some of the stuff here. And today I have Jason Hitchcock from ThirdWeb, company that you probably all use, but is in the background doing amazing things. Everybody uses ThirdWeb. It's incredibly big and awesome. And I invited Jason to come today because he has a proposal in the Frax governance forums for funding for the CVX5 group, a new business development growth team that wants to come out and help bring more liquidity and TVL into Frax. So welcome, Jason.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Yeah, thanks for the plug on ThirdWeb. And yeah, delighted to talk about this CVX5 group and our proposal on the Frax governance that people can go check out, written by Boz. Yeah, happy to talk about the team, what it's all about, how it came together, what we're trying to do. Yeah.
So the thing that was most interesting about the proposal was that your BD team of CVX5 was the group that helped Trident Digital Group, who we recently interviewed on Flywheel, to come
Yeah.
in and enter the Curve and Convex ecosystem. So that was the thing that stuck out to me the most.
Yeah, I'll tell a short story on how we got to that, and I think it'll make sense why we made this group. So, Crypto Investor, who a lot of you probably follow for his screenshots of what Sam K said recently, or what C2P or Winthorpe might have said in the Convex Discord, or what Mitch said in the Telegram group, and he's just like spewing out alpha. And so I got in touch with him and we got acquainted. And him and I are significant Convex holders, and we have been since the beginning. Boz is my business partner. We run a DeFi fund, and Convex is one of our positions. And we started wondering, where are all the other people, like not like that own just a sizable amount of Convex, and what do they think about proposals? What do they think about anything? Like we should all talk. It's like we have slightly different there could be a different discourse among large bag holders versus like the Discord. And so we were wondering like what would come of that. So we somehow organized that group of people, like the top 30 or 40 people into a group. A bunch of the protocol founders are in there, and we just now talk about all the proposals. People give their thoughts, founders share their proposals ahead of time, and and they get feedback, they edit them, and that was kind of interesting. And next thing you know, some people started to network their way to us as they saw that we were starting to move votes, and we were getting gauges live for different protocols that had really cool projects, and that was happening very quickly. We were also then educating a lot of people on how bribes work, or incentives. We use incentives now. Bribe is a bad word. But
It's okay.
yeah, it
There.
became apparent that there was kind of an information asymmetry among the participants. Like Crypto Investor, myself, Boz, like we're obsessed with like Convex, Frax, this whole liquidity flywheel and how it works. And some of the participants, even the protocols, are looking for advice. They're looking for guidance. We lack a playbook for how to engage this system, like that you can just pick up and self-serve get going. You kind of have to read a lot of documentation, read a lot of threads, and come to a conclusion. And so I think after helping some protocols in this chat get their tokens going and properly properly get incentives going, we reached out to Trident because we heard, it was like, we just kind of like pieced together who was working on PayPal USD. Like that information was out there. We reached out, we got in touch, and then brought them fully up to speed on what is Curve, Convex, Frax, how do these things work, how do you get liquidity on it, helping them with their strategy. We started connecting them to a lot of different teams, and it was just a really good experience for them. And we then realized, I bet tons of other teams would appreciate this. We should just like formalize that, like, hey, we do this. Like, our group not only just knows a tremendous amount about this ecosystem, in part thanks to your podcast and your writings. Like, thank you for doing that. but we also we're all like entrepreneurs. Like I've been an early stage startup. I've been building out sales, BD, growth teams for 12 years. I've been a founder. I've exited a company to Twitch. I now run the ecosystem team at ThirdWeb, so I'm connected to like so many different types of organizations that can be really helpful. Boz was the COO of Akash on Cosmos. He's raised rounds. He knows BD really well. CryptoVestor, he's spent 20 years in TradFi at hedge funds. You know, he needs no introduction. KCon and Solace are both DeFi natives with finance backgrounds and TA backgrounds. And so like this group is able to kind of arrive at some novel opinions, or we can strategize how liquidity could work, and we can really add value. And so like we know a lot about, we want to help Fractal. We want to help protocols connect to them. We want to help protocols engage this flywheel for liquidity in the right way. They need to know what the right levers are to pull and how hard to pull them. That's kind of like the high level idea.
Yeah, and when we spoke with Anthony, I guess this was because of you guys. He was fully up to date on everything. Like it was really surprising to see his kind of journey from being purely in the TradFi space to making that jump and now running Trident and advising companies like Paxos, who is essentially the wrapper for PayPal in their issuance of PYUSD, and then helping that bring to Curve, right? Because Curve is this like, I call it like the social layer of DeFi. And it's a very big and esoteric system. It's very deep, especially with the convex layer on top. Mm-hmm. And then all the other working parts like Frax and FX Protocol and Prisma now integrated as well. It's such a deep system that you need this type of consulting, business development to really be able to understand it and get your toes wet and then fully jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. We have been tremendously encouraged with our engagements with Trident. They are like a one of us type group. They understand DeFi. Their people on their team have been there since DeFi summer, screwing around in DeFi. So like they know what this world is, and it's been really cool to see them operationalize the usage of it. They have a really big goal for on-chain mandate for what PayPal USD needs to get to in this year. And so it's really awesome that they're going to be in the flywheel pretty aggressively too.
So what are you guys looking at Frax with? I know you've already done the Trident Digital onboarding, but what do you have planned for 2024 for Frax? And
it's TBD. That's why we made this group. I would say, like, if you think about like the order of those events I described earlier, it's it's a story of increasing kind of formalization around a certain opportunity. Like we initially were like, we were interested in this ecosystem, and then it's like, let's go find all the sort of like major stakeholders and get them into one place. What do we even talk about? Oh my God, this is what everyone talks about and what people know and don't know. I wonder what other protocols don't know this stuff and should and be a part of it. And we're ridiculously bullish on Frax. We want to do anything we can to help that chain grow, attract TVL, get dev tooling on board. Like I want to see how I can help from a ThirdWeb perspective. We want to help team. We have. Boz and I, we also run another organization called 4 Moons that runs a lot of validators. We do DeFi advisory. We run a liquid token fund, or we're sub-advisors to a hedge fund. We manage their sort of liquid token portfolio. And so like 4 Moons offers a lot of consulting services for DeFi teams that are launching tokens. How will they bootstrap liquidity? CVX5 will do very similar things for protocols that need the help that are coming to Frax. And so if that means talking to inbound, going outbound, we'll figure out where we can help out. The point is we have a group of people that has a broad range of expertise. We also can organize and whip votes for critical things. Like if someone needs we can't guarantee anything. Everything needs to be aligned. We need to believe in what is happening, but like we can whip votes for gauges. So everything is in the spirit of increasing liquidity, number of projects, diversity of projects. Um, we ourselves are very interested in running a validator, whatever that means. We're still waiting for info. We'd like to have a stake in the infrastructure, and have that be a part of our upside, because we believe in the Frax thesis. So yeah.
That's really cool. It's interesting to see how there's like the llamas, which is also part of Curve and kind of acts as like the dev technical side, and then you guys are acting almost as like the operational BD side, both as independently formed groups of people and taking on different roles in like the Curve Convex Frax ecosystem.
I mean, if I could wave a magic wand and aspire to be a significant BD contributor to Frax, I would. I think we need to learn more about what that means, how to engage and work with the Frax team, folks like yourselves. I think we were inspired by what you guys have done, by like you've written proposals to become this almost media arm of Frax. I think that's like a really amazing model that, I mean, I hope to see copied on other ecosystems. I think you guys are like writing a good playbook. We want to see what does like a BD playbook look like. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and especially as Frax has kind of like turned the corner from V1 and V2 in this algorithmic design now in Frax V3, moving towards having like FinRes PBC as the backend for enabling RWA like assets, and then also the coming launch of Frax ETH V2, which I know that ThirdWeb will probably be providing services for
Mm-hmm.
to create a lending market for ETH validators. Knowing what you do with ThirdWeb, it gives me a lot of hope on the infrastructure and also the development that can come into Frax just from that alone, right? Not to mention the other parts of CVX5 that you have. I'll be really interested to see how that plays out with the sequencer that Frax is going to launch for Fractal, and then also with other things like Frax V2 that's coming up as well too.
Yeah, no, you bring up a good point because, like, in my role at ThirdWeb doing the ecosystem stuff, I see a tremendous like all I do all day is I'm on the phone with teams at every different blockchain, all the major EVMs. Like we support over 1,100, and like I'm constantly engaged with like the top 100, and on a regular basis, maybe like the top 25, and I'm seeing all sorts of playbooks on how to grow an ecosystem. And it's like there's a lot of things Frax doesn't do that it could do. And I think like when it has a chain, it will have an opportunity to do a whole new set of different activities to activate developers. Like it will need to do a lot of developer relations. They will need to have hackathons or run workshops. They will need to have extensive documentation. They'll need solution pages, like content that's like speaks to not just the mechanics of how a blockchain works, but like why DeFi and how you can build DeFi, how you can build a game on here, or then like double click on that, like how to build a lending protocol or whatever they want built. They need to like explain that you can build that, and that's like just a whole other mindset. And you need those are like other muscles to develop, like good documentation, and this kind of content doesn't write itself. It's not easy. And so I'm eager to learn about what is the go-to-market plan for this chain when it comes to acquiring developers. And
Yeah.
I think that almost comes back to like sort of like why we offer ourselves up in service of like one sort of like leg of the chair of like the go to market BD. There's like demand generation, which is done through the why, case studies, content, hackathons, opportunities for people to come to you. And then like there's this whole outbound of like, hey, you would be good to be here and going spear hunting and getting great projects. So yeah.
Yeah, and also it might be worthwhile for you guys to become a well, essentially get a large voting representation with VEFXS once the FraxGov module system goes live that will allow for proxy voting. I know that Flywheel's been thinking about that, about how we can support the ecosystem in that way. And you talked about like whipping votes and other things like that. CVX5 seems pretty poised to be able to do that.
Yeah,
With
I think that's a good idea. And like I would say like, that is a whole value add that I think I don't know, I'm paying attention to that. Like how having being able to whip votes or having votes like lets you enable a strategy more so. And so it's like I can be a value add to other teams coming on to Frax. Like, hey, things that like governance, like I don't know, you can't make promises, but like having governance as a tool is always good.
Well, that's really cool. I'm really excited to see how this plays out. The proposal was great, and you have a great team there with you and CryptoVestor, Boz, and Solus. So really excited to see how this plays out in 2024.
Thanks for having us on. It's always good to talk with a good friend. And yeah, man, love watching the show. Take it easy. And I know we're probably coming on again. You're going to meet Atif to talk about Zychain.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's going to be over on in Leviathan in a few days. So thanks for being here, Jason. And thanks for everybody in the Flywheel community for tuning in. And make sure to go check out the CVX5 governance proposal. It is currently live in the Frax forums, and we'll have a link in the show notes below.
Thank you. Bye.